And a place of special significance. It was here where the first game of the Abramovich era was played, a 4-1 win back in 2003. It's been a hot old day, and the humidity will surely be a factor as well. So the Chelsea team includes a debut for Mark Schwarzer, 40 years of age. Nathaniel Jaloba partners John Terry in defence. Marco van Ginkel starts in midfield, and Kevin De Bruyne wearing number 15 but occupying the number 10 role. There will of course be changes and plenty of them, expecting pretty much an entirely different team in the second half. There is Mark Schwarzer. Over 500 Premier League appearances, the first foreign player ever to do that. Used to playing in this part of the world with Australia in Asian Cup and World Cup qualifiers and the like. And how busy he will be this evening on his Chelsea debut. Clive Walker alongside me. Clive, what's Jose Mourinho looking for from this match?
Well, I think again, as always, we look for a win just to boost morale, but obviously that's not as important perhaps as getting the players through and fully fit without any injuries. And I think injuries are the big talking point of many teams throughout pre-season. If you get injuries to big name players, hard to replace. So injury-free game, hopefully. A lot of endeavour, a lot of hard work. Maybe one or two players beginning to shine, beginning to show their intentions, beginning to show the manager that they want to be part of the starting 11. So, you know, as this pre-season goes through, every game becomes more and more important for the players, and they need to start showing their worth. And I'm sure, as we saw in the first game, one or two will shine again this evening.
Chelsea wearing the new white away kit for the first time, but it's a sea of blue all around the stadium. Successful start to the tour against the Singer All-Stars, but hopefully a bit more of a rigorous workout this evening. Certainly that's what is expected. Malaysia 11 comprised mainly of Malaysian internationals there in the middle of a qualification campaign for the 2015 Asian Cup. Played a few friendlies recently. It's as little practice for them as it is for Chelsea. Here's De Bruyne looking to make an early impact.
It's actually unlucky there, Gary, because he turned inside and maybe shouldn't have done. He did well to get away from his marker, but in doing that, he just lost his momentum. Should have stayed down the right-hand side. But it's been a lively start, hasn't it? Buzzing, understandably so from the crowd as well. Matt, you know, this is a lively place. You know, the fans do love their football there in Malaysia. And well, Chelsea on their territory. I'm sure there's a lot of Chelsea fans in the crowd that are be pleased to see Chelsea do well. But it's local, and the Malaysian people do get behind their side.
See the Malaysia 11 team running across the bottom of your screen, or at least it was. Mahali bin Jasuli will be on familiar territory. This is his home ground. He plays for Selangor. He finished second in the last Malaysia Premier League season, which finished at the start of this month. So these players will be in much better condition than their Chelsea counterparts, obviously, and much more used to the humidity, which has been around 66% here today. We are about half an hour outside of Kuala Lumpur. Some players maybe just beginning to get used to the temperatures in this part of Southeast Asia, but it takes longer than at all to really acclimatise. It's a first touch for Mark Schwarzer. It's SEN.
I think we're going to see a lot of that through midfield, where the Malaysians really do close down very quickly. It's going to be important that Michael Essien and Van Ginkel really do relax on the ball and keep the ball moving into wider areas. And I'm sure when you start spreading the play, we'll find some holes that we'll be able to play through. But in these early stages, it's going to be very intense.
It's Branislav Ivanovic well forward early on, looking for Lukaku. That took it away from him, but picked up by Eden Hazard. Two in the centre, waiting for the delivery. Still with the Belgian, and he ran into traffic.
Three players around him. Still wants to have a go, doesn't he, Eden? But the one thing is as well, the type of player he is, you know, when the fans start roaring like they did, you know, it makes you want to take people on. It makes you want to drive at the defenders really have a go. And sometimes it's not always the right decision, but I'm sure Eden Hazard will enjoy himself in the game this evening.
Greeted like a hero. He said there'd be some flicks and tricks. That's Adil Razak, the captain, at least for the first half. We're expecting Safik Rahim to wear the armband. He's the Malaysian national captain. He's on the substitutes bench. Chelsea will field pretty much an entirely different team in the second half, we are told.
I think what's always nice, though, it doesn't matter who's playing and how many changes you make for me in these early couple of games pre-season. It's all about a pattern of play. It's a pattern that the manager wants to play. And, you know, with a new manager, again, okay, I'm saying new in inverted commas, but, you know, you want to see a pattern, you want to see a style. So you want to see both sets of players, first or second half, play in a similar fashion.
In terms of impressing the new old boss, that applies just as much to John Terry as it does to Bertrand Traore, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, John Terry's 6 years older than when Jose Mourinho was here before, so players change. Obviously, with age, players do differ. I mean, his style won't change, but obviously with JT and Frank, you know, they're going to be a different player than they were 6 years ago. So, of course, everybody needs to impress. It's pre-season. You all need to get it right on the day and show the manager that you're still worthy of being part of this terrific squad.
Yes, yeah. Space for Traore here. He's got Ivanovic on the overlap. Options in field two. One of them is SEN. Now Hazard. As you would expect, Chelsea dominating the ball in the opening 5 minutes of the match. De Bruyne with time to turn. Lukaku with his arm in the air wants a pass. It's short to Hazard instead. He wasn't fouled. Lukaku's going to go for goal. The goalkeeper spilled it. Not quite into the path of Traore. Maybe Essien will let fly. Just ran away from him.
It was a decent strike, wasn't it? Just exactly as it should have been. Good save by the keeper as well. Give him some credit. He's done well. He's got down well. I've parried it away. Could have fallen to a Chelsea player, but good play by Chelsea, keeping the ball flowing. Eden Hazard, I felt, was fouled in the build-up, but the referee did well to play the advantage.
Traore. No flag here against De Bruyne. Lukaku waiting for a cross. First time from De Bruyne. It'll come through to Traore. Chelsea lead. Bertrand Traore is the player who's got the goal. And the perfect start.
Yeah, that's a huge smile, isn't it? I think that's a lovely little finish. I'm not too sure that he actually caught it sweetly enough, but he sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. And I think from De Bruyne's cross as well, what's nice to see is he's putting it in first time, gets the defenders on the back foot, stays on side, right back keeps him on. Here he sees the ball coming in. The ball really should have been for Lukaku coming in, but I think he's dragged it back behind the defenders. And that's a nice little finish in the end. Well, I'm maybe giving him a disservice. I think this is a good finish. I think he's caught this quite nicely. There you see, through the legs of the defender. No chance for the goalkeeper. And it's a tiny little finish into the opposite corner.
Might have been meant for Lukaku. Might have been meant for Hazard. But it was Traore who put it in. Faris Al-Malias has already picked the ball out of his net once. Might end up being a long night for him.
Well, that's been a bright start. I think what's nice as well, that the passing that we've shown in these early few minutes has been a lot through midfield. And once it's gone into midfield, it's come out to a wide area when you attack, when you're that final third. I think because of that, they've been sort of sucked into a midfield area, and then we've got it wide. All of a sudden, they can't cover the gaps, and that's their problem. Kevin De Bruyne did well, you know, and at the end of the day, first time crosses are what forwards want. And I'm sure Lukaku will be pleased to see it coming in, although he wasn't on the end of it.
Some good early signs of fluidity from the front three. We have De Bruyne down as the number 10, the middle of those three, but he was on the right wing, able to cross. Now was Traore to finish.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we probably talked a lot about last season, Matt. You know, all about that fluidity of the attacking three midfield players.
It's as soft a free kick as you will see anywhere in world football. Chaleba, the unlucky man. Dabri Yaya didn't need much persuasion to fall to the ground.
No, he just got between them. But he actually does well here, to be honest. Through Ivanovic's leg. And there was just the faintest touch on his shoulder from Chaleba. And he just decides to fall over. I'm sure he's a stronger player than that, but I suppose the hand on the shoulder gives the referee the choice of giving the free kick, and this is in quite a dangerous area. We talk about sometimes quality of balls we saw in the other day against us from the All-Stars. They were good deliveries from corners. Let's see what Malaysia are capable of.
Sami, hands on hips, wanting to send it in. Good opportunity this for the hosts. Opportunity wasted.
Yeah, that's not a good ball in. You know, it's easy for Mark Short to take cleanly, although he's given the ball away. Chelsea have got it back.
Going to check half an hour to get a touch on Wednesday night. At least Mark Schwartz has had a feel of the ball. You get nervous making your debut at 40? No.
Well, you do. You do, actually. You do get nervous, whatever age you are. You know, it's a different kind of nervousness. You know, the nervousness you have as a youngster, a 17, 18-year-old, is totally different. You know, because you've got all those years, you usually get over the nervousness very, very quickly. And I'm sure Mark has already. And it's great that he's had a few early touches. That'll do the world of good. But, yeah, he'll still get nervous at 40. Don't worry about that.
Piece of business to get him. Got Chelsea surging forwards again. This is going to break nicely here for Traore. Maybe a second. Goalkeeper's lost it.
Well, I think he does the right thing here, Traore. The only thing I would have said was maybe get your boot through it, hit your laces through it. Lucky ricochet into his path. He's tried to side foot it. I think he's probably tried to side foot it to the goalkeeper's right, slightly miscued, and it's gone to the keeper's left. I mean, he's hit the target. He's done well. Made the keeper force a save. But I think, have a little gamble. He's already got one goal. It's early in the game. Put your laces through it. It could go anywhere. It could go over the crossbar. But I think it would have been more dangerous.
About that from De Bruyne. Here's Lukaku. Will not break for a shot. De Bruyne there offering some support.
I think he should do better there, Lukaku. I think that's one of those situations where you get your body in and you hold the player. There was an opportunity for a reverse pass, but he didn't want to do that to De Bruyne. There we see the challenge. I think he's unlucky. I think it was a corner. Having said that, he must keep the ball. I think that's where Josie would say to him, you know, when you're in that area, if there's nothing on, if you can't deliver, then get your back into the defender and just hang on to it and wait for some support.
17 Premier League goals for Lukaku. West Brom last season, one on this tour already, of course, from the penalty spot. There's Ivanovic. Fashioned up and under. Touch initially from Traore, past that a bit too much of De Bruyne. This is just Suli. Just on Mourinho. Unlikely to move from that position where he is now, unless he comes, well, to play a right wing. He's certainly not going to sit down. Chelsea leading by Bertrand Traore, 6-minute goal to 0. Excellent work down the right wing from De Bruyne, and Traore with a nice first-time finish too. Here's John Terry, 16th pre-season as a senior pro at Chelsea for him. His chest off looking for De Bruyne again. Iboon gives Chelsea the free kick.
Well, again, a bit sharp on the whistle, the referee. The ball's running free for Traore. Just give him a second. We can continue playing, but Chelsea in control now.
So spreads the play beautifully. Hazard find De Bruyne. He was there in his way. Losing out to SEN.
Certainly a pleasing roar from the crowd every time Eden Hazard gets the ball, and see they've enjoyed him from last season as we all have. And Malaysian crowd and fans there expected something from him today. And every time he gets it, he's crowded out by at least 2 Malaysian defenders. So it'll be a tough 45 minutes for him at least.
Started and finished his debut season in Midfield so brilliantly, didn't he?
That was wonderful to watch.
Big year ahead for him. World Cup year, of course. His players will be thinking about that. So to a certain way, really. It's Marco van Ginkel to be on the plane with the Netherlands. Hazard again. War of anticipation again. It's in towards the Lukaku. Goalkeeper spills it again and again. Gets rather lucky.
Well, I think Romelu Lukaku will be loving this. Absolutely loving it. Great overlapping run. Good early ball in for him. Gives him a chance. That's what Lukaku scored his goals at West Brom last season doing. This is a wonderful ball in. could have gone anywhere. Unfortunately, Kevin De Bruyne couldn't get on the end of the rebound, and Lukaku couldn't quite get on the end of the first ball in. But that's what he'll thrive on. As long as he knows the ball's coming in, he'll be getting in those areas all the time.
De Bruyne finding that bit of space again and finding Hazard. Traore wants it back post, comes his way. Asiano just begged to be hit. His foot through it. Still from Traore, but Ivanovic will scamper after it. De Bruyne will win it. Traore looking for Lukaku. Cut to Ivanovic. Flag up.
Yeah, I think Hazard had just got into an offside position. I think Branislav should have belted this one, drilled it with the outside of his boot, tried bending into that far post. Didn't have a great deal of option. I think as soon as he's tried to pass to Eden Hazard, I think the flag would have gone up anyway. But again, Chelsea dominating play, looking lively. What's nice is they're moving the ball on a lot quicker in through the midfield area, which is nice to see. And again, the ball into Lukaku there is the sort of ball he would be thriving on. He'd be enjoying this game.
10 o'clock local time in the evening, but you can see Branislav Ivanovic just how hot and sticky it still is. All helps build up the fitness though, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly does. You know, the players, you know, although at times we'll be saying this is hot, this is too much sweat, you know, they know what it's all about.
It's a great throw from Ivanovic to Lukaku. Just about able to deal with it, but Traore's not giving it up.
Again, good throw by Ivanovic, but again, we'll have to say with Lukaku, just feel, if you're playing against Premier League sides, you need to keep the ball when it's high at the park. And only really, he's dynamic, he's very forward-looking, he wants to go for goal, wants to get in good areas. But when it doesn't happen for him, we need to keep the ball. And that's a couple of times in this opening 15 minutes where Premier League sides will come back at you straight away. Maybe not the Malaysians, but Premier League sides will. And I think that's where we need a little bit more attention.
As far as how the Malaysia goalkeeper's distribution could use some work, I would suggest. It's the second one in a couple of minutes that he's put out of play. Traore has just presented it back to Malaysia. Spirasami's through ball. Terry had read it. Chelsea having things pretty much all their own way in the opening 15 minutes. Hazard. Traore had found the game. Lukaku back to goal. Traore.
Again, no good link-up play. Don't mind that. He's done well there, Lukaku. And Traore's run off the line to try and give him some support. It's still good play. Didn't quite work out this time, but you know that's intelligent play, and that's what these pre-season games. You know, you can learn a lot from fellow players that you've never played with before.
I've been here for a couple of days. They arrived on Thursday and have trained twice in this stadium. Last night in front of a crowd. Previous visits, the games have been played at the Jalil Stadium. That's currently being renovated. So yet to have a real test. All but 2 Premier League games for Fulham last season. Lukaku to Traore, well, worth a try in a friendly, I'd say.
I think it might be worth a try in any game. That wasn't a bad effort as it goes, was it? Just sat down nicely for him. And he's got the confidence to take that on. I don't think that's such a bad thing. Goalkeeper was slightly off his line, but on another day, getting closer to the crossbar, who knows?
Same result from a Faisal goal kick out for a Chelsea throw. Bertrand linked with a move to Liverpool, but says he's more than happy to stay at Chelsea. Why wouldn't he be? He appeared in 38 games last season. Mourinho applauds the idea, if not quite the execution from Traore.
Nice to see MALAYSIA actually being the major factor in the centre of midfield in these opening 18 minutes. I think he's been terrific. His combative style that he's definitely got. His respect from the Malaysian team as well at the moment. For me, he's controlling midfield, just giving opportunities to the likes of Van Hinkel to try and get on the ball, although we haven't seen a great deal from him. But for me, MALAYSIA is breaking up everything that the Malaysians have.
Like a new signing, really, isn't he? If he's come back in.
Well, he is, yeah.
From Madrid.
I think the worry was, of course, the injuries that he sustained. But obviously, he seems to have come through that. Seems to be okay, which is great news for Chelsea.
Always good if you can have that blend with those two sitting midfielders where one does the ugly stuff and the other one can play a bit. Here's Hazard, he certainly can play a bit. Now Traore. Lukaku wants it, it's gone in Hazard's direction.
Yeah, the ball was never in Hazard's favour, was it? The defender was always coming across, looked to be always going to get there, but at least they're trying to link up again, different players linking up in different areas, which is great.
Spending plenty of time in Malaysia 11's final third of the field. He had won it back almost as quickly as he'd lost it. Hammered his cross to close range from Jasuli. Minutes gone. One goal so far. There could have been more. Certainly the promise of more. Bruyne. Hazard. The movement of Traore in the penalty area. So many yellow and black shirts back there, though.
Yeah, and sometimes we need to go back to the halfway line just to stretch them, just to leave the gaps, because when they're in there for a long time and they're camped in there tight, sometimes you just wait for your opportunities to maybe leave that little gap. As we saw their ball slightly overplayed, but it's all Chelsea. Only 20 minutes. Nice to see. The enthusiasm's terrific. The tempo's great by Chelsea. And the movement's been pretty good too.
This portion of pre-season, including on Thursday in Jakarta against the BNI Indonesia All-Stars. It's off to America, where the intensity will step up a bit. The Guinness International Champions Cup with the likes of Inter Milan, AC Milan, Everton, Juventus, Valencia, Real Madrid and LA Galaxy. His old team in there. Of course, it's Inter who Chelsea face first. Maybe the Malaysian team on Frenton Schwartz's goal. It's the conversion to deal with in the end. Little space here for Yaya. His way through as well. John Terry for a corner, and that's pleased the locals.
A little bit of confusion there between Ryan Bertrand and John Terry. I think John knew what he was doing. I think Ryan thought he was a little bit closer. Yaya then just gets between the two. Ryan Bertrand has a problem, but as always, JT steps across and makes a good block challenge.
Quickly and short, the chance here. The deflection maybe took that away from goal. It's going to be another corner. It was Kurasami who hit it.
What a chance. Great chance for them, wasn't it? Super turn. Unfortunately, it was Kevin De Bruyne, probably the greatest defender, but just got sold the dummy. The space was massive. Should have done better, to be fair to them.
So just starting to come into the game now. Who's one of their more impressive players, going to take the corner. Also comes and gets something on it.
They've gone quite a long way there, Mark Schwarzer. I thought he was struggling to get much on the ball. Probably, with hindsight, should have stayed on his line, but we've got some good defenders in there who will deal with crosses like that. But as always, again, new goalkeeper. different way of dealing with things, and he has to learn by playing in front of the back four. It won't do him any harm to come under a little bit of pressure.
It's Yaya again. Get round Ivanovic. Big deflection on the cross.
Schwarzer, and that's better. That's what it's all about. You know, terrific that is. That's a very experienced goalkeeper doing that.
That's how good stretch his legs for the return ball from De Bruyne.
I just bonked a little bit there, and I thought he should have got a free kick. Here we see the deflected cross falling kindly for the Malaysian side, but the header back in had no power in it.
The game on our hands all of a sudden. Jose Mourinho will be pleased that his defence have got some work to do, because they were kept very, very quiet on Wednesday.
I was just going to say, you know, they need to work as well.
It's nice from Lukaku, who's away here. Traore offering some help. Trying to use his strength to win the ball back, but 4 against 1 was going to be difficult.
He's done well there, Lukaku, for me. I could see what he was trying to do was get it onto his left foot, and I'm sure he got to pass that last defender. He's going to pull the trigger. Mind him having to go in those sorts of areas.
It's all about stepping up the intensity gradually in pre-season, isn't it? And this now is looking like more of a test than against the Singapore.
Yeah, there's more intensity about our attacking flair, if you like. We kept the ball well the other day against the All-Stars, and it was a bit methodical at times. And I think there was no real urge to sprint into position, to take players on. I think today we're seeing something a little bit different, a lot sharper, a lot crisper. And it's as you would expect, you know, and I think we'll see the same intensity in the second half with a different set of players. But that's what you're trying to do, is build it up gradually for the first game of the season.
Jasuli. Waiting for a cross. It'll come his way though. Nonsense from the skipper.
Again, JT just reading the situation. Saw when the next pass was coming before the player on the ball, I think, knew where he was going to put it.
It's out in unfamiliar territory. Found just outside his own penalty box.
Just got his ankle caught there as he went through. Trip on the foot, caught his foot. I'd love to send him to the ground, although we were still in possession.
Frustration for Sherlidan Talaha, the number 9. He's hardly seen the ball. We're going to have a drinks break now.
Well, as we did the other day, and rightly so, it's humility and intensity for the players. You have to go through this situation. We see the goal again.
It's a lovely finish, isn't it?
It's a tidy little finish. And De Bruyne's done well. He just put it into a really dangerous area. Very difficult for defenders running back towards their own goal to react. Whether he meant that or not, or whether he meant first time to Lukaku, this was their opportunity. There's the deflection. It's a great block. It was a super turn as well. Also gives the coaches a chance as well, halfway through the first half, to have a little chat, players to have a chat as well, and talk about things they feel they need to be doing more of or less of. And they'll all be involved in that. You know, we've got some experienced players out there now. And even the likes of Ryan Bertrand, who's been at the side a couple of seasons, very experienced now as a footballer. You know, they'll all be getting involved. And it's good for the new lads as well coming in. The new lads coming in will learn from the older players about talking and making decisions, just saying what they think.
Interesting to see the Chelsea goalkeeper coach Christophe Lollichon in conversation with Mark Schwarzer there. So ChelseaFC.com yesterday. Petr Cech talking about how the difference in training preparations and routines will be something that Schwarzer will notice. something that he'll have to get used to, something that he maybe wasn't planning on having to do at this stage of his career.
Well, the thing is for him as well, you know, he will have habits, whether they're good ones or bad ones. He'll have habits at 40 years of age. And coming to Chelsea, there'll be a certain way of doing things, especially for goalkeepers. Christoph, I'm sure, will put some new ideas to him, which will lift him again. You know, even at 40 years of age, you know, it's not about winding his career down. It's enhancing his career. And Mark will be looking at it to improve his career, even at 40, you know, because he looks fit and able to be able to do that.
Chance for De Bruyne! What a finish that is! Oh my goodness me. Well, he's hurt himself in the act of doing so. Kevin De Bruyne.
Looks like his knee. He's holding his knee. I hope that's not as bad as it looks just there, but it was a wonderful finish. Good flick on from Lukaku. I mean, it's direct, isn't it? It's totally different to the football we've been used to playing, but certainly effective. What a lovely finish. Let's hope this is not too serious.
Well, this will be a real shame. This is the end of Kevin De Bruyne's evening. Rip one stuff, wasn't it? Schwarzer up, Lukaku won it, and then bang.
Well, whether it was when he got tripped after he struck the ball, I mean, the ball's in the back of the net. This is the strike. It could have been the way he put his next foot down. Look at his right leg. Yeah, it's his right leg. It looked like it may be an ankle. Just looking at it again, his right foot goes away from him. There it is. It's the ankle. That could be painful. It is painful. And that's ligament damage for sure. What a shame for Kevin De Bruyne, because that's a super finish and he's been showing some great touches. He looked great in the first game. He's looked good again today. He scored a lovely goal there. And that is a big shame. We talk so often about injuries in pre-season, and that looks to be a very, very painful one that could take him a few weeks to get over, and he'll probably miss the start of the season. Let's hope it's not too bad.
So impressive on Wednesday. He's just scored an absolute thumper of a goal. He's going off with a grimace on his face.
Just looking at that, he's thinking, I can't believe my luck. You know, it's one of those that he started so well, scores a fantastic goal, and in the process of it, it's just unlucky. It's one of those things you can't blame anybody. It's not the defender's fault. It's not the fact that he's landed awkwardly. It's just one of those things that is just slightly off balance, and his leg goes away from underneath him.
Looks like it's Islam Farouz who's going to come on and take his place. He was an injury tout himself in Scotland under 21 international, but he's going to be with us shortly. That's what you look to avoid in pre-season, isn't it? Picking up an injury. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a setback for De Bruyne, but even just on Wednesday night and in half an hour here, he's shown Jose Mourinho that he can be a really effective player for Chelsea this season.
Well, he has. You know, he has impressed me this season. He's looked bright. He's looked sharp. And I just wonder if that's going to give him a problem. I think he'll need some rest and time to get over it. We want him back firing like he has been. And we see the goal again. And let's take nothing away from the injury, but what a finish that is. Absolutely superbly struck. Lukaku's played his part as well.
Islam Farouz wasn't originally named on the Chelsea substitutes bench because of that niggle, but for De Bruyne means he's got to come into the action as SEN. He's wildly wide. Big opportunity now for Islam Farouz, though.
Well, I think so. He's one of our players that we've been talking about, having watched him continuously over the last 2 or 3 seasons in the under-18s, in under-21s. You know, he's such a bright spark. I think he's one of those players that probably deserves an opportunity right now in pre-season. Now, whether he'll be in place at the beginning of the season, looks like he might be one of those players that might go out on loan, possibly. But nice to see Jose giving him a chance here with the first team players. You know, he's a bright player. He's a goal scorer, and that's what you want.
Here he is. Just about finding Lukaku. It's a great ball in from Lukaku, just too high for Traore.
It's a good ball in as well. We talked about that today, haven't we, already, about the early ball into the box. Great delivery.
Again, staying on the right wing. Find another good cross. He's beaten his man. Hazard almost resulted in goal number 3. Instead, it's going to be Chelsea's first corner of the game.
Brilliant by Lukaku. Absolutely brilliant. Super little step overs, gets to the byline, delivers in the box. The only thing you'd say, perhaps Eddie was in there a bit too early, but maybe Lukaku did too many step overs. But he's done it so well. Good ball in, just a little bit unlucky.
And back in again from Hazard. He's so prolific from corners last season. For the Belgians' better efforts on that occasion. Coach of the Malaysia 11, K. Rajagopal. He's also the coach of the Malaysia national team. He's come in for a bit of criticism recently. The side are currently third in their qualification group to go through. To be amongst them. With Bahrain, Qatar and Yemen. Hazard. Mitch on the opener. Hazard using him as a decoy.
It's not a good challenge, is it? Van Ginkel a little bit slow, a little bit flat-footed.
Maybe just desperate to get a touch. He hasn't.
He's not been involved, has he? No, he's been in the periphery of the game so far, and I think because Chelsea are playing particularly well and keeping the ball, you tend to feel he should be involved a lot more than he is. And there's a little bit of frustration from him there. On another day, that's a yellow card.
Chalabah giving away a free kick. Malaysia were looking threatening. Second goal. Chelsea are back on top in the game, but maybe the hosts here cause a problem. The delivery will need to be better than it was. And last time they had a free kick in a similar position. This one's going to be taken by Yaya.
I think he's going to have a shot here. I think this is one from distance. If he beats Mark Schwarzer from here, I'll be very surprised. But, you know, the ball does move a lot more in these warm, humid conditions. And if he gets on target, it could be awkward for him.
Van Ginkel comprising the two-man wall. First go for goal, he went for placement, having a foul, and straight down the throat of Schwarzer.
Again, I'll be very surprised if Mark doesn't deal with balls like that. A little bit awkward because it bounces in front of him, but with all his experience, gets all his body, both hands, the bent knee, every little bit of coaching detail that you need for youngsters these days. That's absolute perfect goalkeeping for me.
The 10 minutes of the first half remaining. Are expecting Marco Van Ginkel, who we were just mentioning, to start the second half as well. That's the case, enough time to impress himself on the game.
Well, I guess maybe if he knew he was going to be playing more or less than 90 minutes, he's been playing first half a little bit reserved. Might see a little bit more of him on the ball in the second half.
So he's been busy this summer playing for the Netherlands in the European Under-21 Championships. Chelsea looking comfortable here. Goals from Traore and Bruyne, giving them the 2-goal advantage. We see plenty of changes to the Malaysia team for the second half as well. Pretty much a full squad of substitutes available. It's Chalabah. 38 games in the championship for Gianfranco Zola's Watford last season. It's a cracking goal at Leicester towards the end of the campaign, which ended in disappointment for Zola. Chalabah. It's Traore. Lucky break sees it through to Lukaku. It's a good tackle, actually.
Well, he stuck to the guns there, Malaysia, didn't they? Got everybody around the ball, but again, a little bit of extra movement, a little bit of awareness of where the players were. I think we could have created another goal there.
Improvisation from Ivanovic.
Sensible as well, wasn't it? Makes it nice and easy, makes it look tidy. And that's where you want your fullback. Just covering round, finding a little bit of space there to tidy things up.
Jose Mourinho saying he does regard Branislav as a right back. Competing with Cesar Azpilicueta for the position throughout the season. We are expecting to see Wallace in the second half, but the word is that he'll go out on loan to get some experience when the season begins. Anticipation always building for the start of a new season, but maybe never before like this. The top three Premier League teams, all with new managers, should be a cracker.
I think that's why everybody's predicting that it's an open season. Everybody's expecting the new managers take a little while to bed in. My opinion is that whoever gets off to a bright start could be the team to take things on. I think if Chelsea can get out the blocks and the fixtures are, then we've got a chance of that. If we can get out the blocks nice and early, it'll be a question of playing catch up for everybody else.
He's looking for a goal back before half time here.
Michael Essien with a great foot in.
How about that for an effort from distance? Also was scrambling and had to turn it round his post.
Yeah, decent enough strike, on target. Mark's had to make sure he's got to cross the line there to push it away. I don't think it was actually going to cause him too many problems that it was going to go in, but he takes no chances, and rightly so, and just powers it away for a corner.
Exactly, skipper it was who tried his luck. They are again going to take the corner on this near side. Terry Mattin. See the corner flag flapping away. I'm sure the players will be grateful of any sort of breeze. In the 30s all day in Malaysia.
Trouble is, Matt, it's a warm breeze. We see the strike again. Decent enough.
Just dipped late, didn't it?
Yeah, there's a bit of movement in it, isn't there? Because he's hit it from so far, but at least Mark Schwartz has seen it all the way. I don't think it's caused him too many problems. It's not come between players from close in, so I think he's quite comfortably seen the ball and just dealt with it accordingly, because it wasn't moving and bobbling away. But it's good goalkeeping.
And a couple of spells of sort of 5-10 minutes, haven't they, Malaysia, where they've strung a few passes together, created a few opportunities. Lukaku. His way to Essien. It's Traore. Bertrand on the overlap. This is he.
Yeah, just lost the momentum a little bit there with Traore. Just felt that little bit of a sloppy pass out to Ryan Bertrand, which he could have kept going. But just delayed the attack, which we still continue keeping possession.
Hazard. Careless. It's Jasuli. A lot careless. Yaya berating his teammate. It was a pretty simple pass to get right. And almost a perfect first half for Chelsea. Only not on the copybook, that injury to Kevin De Bruyne. The act of scoring a terrific second goal to Traore's opener. So I'm asking for handball. If Traore might have been the better pass there.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's just a bit disappointed with his own pass because it got cut out and struck the defender on the hand. He thought he might get a free kick.
By Omar, now by Ivanovic.
Yeah, again, one of those positions I don't think he needs to put a foot in here. Just let him have the ball. Just stand goal side and reasonably tight, but don't stick a foot out. This gives the opponents opportunity to settle themselves down. That's a good foot in, though.
Almost
That's unlucky. Pass. That is unlucky. Good vision by Lukaku. Running off the ball by Traore.
Lukaku's looked impressive when coming deep, trying to link up play. More so than on the second goal. Maybe now he can get a sniff of an opportunity himself. Took it well on the chest, but just skipped away from him through to Farizal.
And that's where he uses his power and his strength. And he's trying to make something out of nothing, really. It's not the best ball in for him. Defender doesn't fancy the challenge. Knows Lukaku's behind him with his height and his strength. It's just a hopeful ball that he's made something out of. He's just a little bit unlucky. Run away into the goalkeeper's hands.
Time for another chance before the whistle blows to end the first half.
Lukaku puts another defender on the floor. He said he was enjoying this game, didn't he?
Too many in the Premier League who could deal with Romelu Lukaku last season. Hat-trick in that crazy 5-5 final game of the season between West Brom and Manchester United. Rusami. Which needed to get in the way of that.
But I see those sorts of balls easy for our defenders to read. I don't see that as a problem. He's hit it for some 40 yards, reasonably low along the ground. Everybody's quite tight. I'd expect our defenders to cut those ones out.
Yeah. The 1-2, he thought he was fouled by Chalobah, and the others did. John Terry coming forward, finding Lukaku. Still going. Top of your picture, Terry. Ball's going to come his way too.
Right idea. I can just see what Lukaku. He knows John Terry's carrying on the overlap. He knows he wants to get it onto his good left foot, and he knows he's got to clip it far post. But the pass in the end, he's made it too difficult for himself. It's a simple one. Just hang it up in the air. You know what John Terry's going to do. He's going to come over the top of every defender and give him a chance to score a goal. It was almost like you could see it being written as the boys are playing. Just the final ball into the box wasn't the best. Good challenge there by Van Dinkel, by the way.
Nice and rugged.
Well, it's nice that the referee let it go. A lot of times you might see a referee pull that up for a foul, but for me that's a great challenge. Here we see it again. Timing, perfect. That's a super challenge.
And man felt the effects, but he's back up on his feet. It's the first half stoppage time, and some of the Chelsea players, I'm sure, will be fairly relieved that they're going to get a break.
Well, I think what it is as well, it's been 45 minutes of good work. And the 45 minutes of those 11 players, for me, has been terrific. And 2-0 to the good, which is always a bonus. But as you said, Matt, the one sad point at the moment is the Kevin De Bruyne injury. Having said that, I think we played very, very well. Slightly different to more of an up-tempo game than we saw the other day, but we've gone about our job and done it very well.
This has come a long way again, and he's got that one without a problem. Confirm that Malaysia substitution you just saw as it's Matt Rose making his way off, and Khalid Shah, the player who came on to take his place. Curious time to make a substitution. Was a high boot, head height on Hazard. Luckily there was no contact from Shahralazim.
I think you saw the high boot coming, yeah, I didn't. Just allow the referee to get the free kick.
A couple of extra minutes because of that De Bruyne injury. That's from Traore. It's a good first half. Rusami. Again, Ivanovic telegraphing the pass. Yaya. Those levels whenever he gets the ball. Ivanovic manages to stop Talaha in his tracks.
Yeah, good timing on the challenge as well by Branislav. Good timing right on the edge of the box, need to get it spot on.
We play on. SEN. Keep ball between he, Chalabar and Terry. Has been that comfortable for most of the half. Just that one chance for Malaysia, which almost led to a goal. Other than that's been pretty much all Chelsea. Maybe they can create one last opportunity before the whistle blows, stopping that from happening. Bertrand to safety. Peruse. No flag here against Lukaku. Great chance for number 3, and he's taken it. Isn't he enjoying his tour? Second goal in as many games for Romelu Lukaku. And Chelsea have scored 3 times in the first half here.
Quality, absolute quality. Traore has done very, very well as well, but Lukaku's running across the line was perfectly timed. And his finish was exquisite. Goalkeeper left himself a little bit exposed, but look at the running off the line by Lukaku. Times it to perfection, stays on side. Good first touch. Second touch was always going in. There we see the touch inside, puts on his left foot. The goalkeeper in no man's land, really. Still has to be finished, and he's done it very, very well. And I don't think it's any more than we deserve.
To get it down to his feet, but managed to find the bottom corner, and he was onside as well, just about Lukaku.
Yeah, I think that's a good yard onside. I don't think there's any doubt.
And that was the last act of an event-filled first half. Chelsea have scored 3 goals. Bertrand Traore got the first on 6 minutes. Kevin De Bruyne just before the half hour thumped in a superb volley, but unfortunately was injured in the process and subsequently been replaced. And then right at the end there, Romelu Lukaku with goal number 3. So Chelsea cruising their way toward victory, expecting a much changed lineup from both sides in the second half. So far so good though in the Shah Alam Stadium. Half-time score, the Malaysia 11-0, Chelsea 3.